Nation in Conversation, proudly brought to you by AFGRI, Fort Knox, Hinterland, Monsanto, Nedbank, NWK and Senvis.
Good day and welcome to Nation in Conversation from me, Theo Foster. This week we take a deeper look into the success and importance of mentorship programs. We paid a visit to successful new farmers and share their stories and passion for agriculture. Later in the program, we will take a look at the various career opportunities in the agriculture sector and why new entrance into the sector is so crucial. Remember to follow us on Twitter at NationConverse or visit our website, nationinconversation.co.za. Our first visit was to a farmer called Philip Mukiti in Klerksdorp. Philip is living out his dream of farming with his daughter and his favorite animals, the Brahman cattle breed.
I am Philip Mukiti, a very serious commercial farmer who is prepared to see the farming industry changed with our contribution. I was born in a family of 5, 2 boys and 3 girls. The love of farming started at a very early age. While I was working, we were staying on the farm whereby my mother was a farm worker. By then we would go to school, after school come back. When we arrived home, we have to undress, go to the farm and work. And that was the love of farming. In our culture, they call you a man if you have got cattle. In 2008, I met one white guy who then introduced me to the Brahman. Then is when I started to have love of the Brahman. And when he spoke to me to say that, Philip, you have got commercial, but I think if you move this way with the stud Brahman, and I said, Martins, what do you mean? He said, stud Brahman. I said, what is that, Martins? And he started to explain to me to have an understanding of stud Brahman. And he said, Philip, I will take you to the auction one day. You will then understand and see what I mean when I talk about stud Brahman. Then my love with the Brahman started there.
I've been working with Philip for the past 4 years. When he started, he was more interested in the livestock. Then we started to introduce cash crop to his farm. And what I like about Philip, he's a good listener. He's a committed guy. He's got other businesses, but when coming to planting, if we made the appointment, he's the guy who's honoring the appointments.
Senvis sent out Julius to come in. And when he started to talk to me as a mentor, to say that, Mr. Mukiti, for you to, see what you are getting from your farm, by planting, you need to analyze the soil. I said, what? He said, no, you need to analyze your soil. Make sure that whether your soil is good for the crops that you want to plant and all those things. And I said to him, so who is going to do this? They said, no, I will come in. I will show you, I will get people from Senvis to analyze the soil. You understand your soil, you understand your farm. To say that next year you have to put in the what kind of fertilizer and all. Really, it was something that I've never expected. I just know that I will plant, I will put in fertilizer, that is it.
My day-to-day responsibility is to provide technical advice to commercial farmers. What does this technical advice entail? It starts with the resource evaluations. I think most of the people, they know that there's a saying which says, if you cannot measure, you cannot manage it. So we encourage the farmers to know their resources. We measure their fields and classify their soils in order to determine the potential of the soils. The soils that are not good, we encourage them to plant pasture. The good soils that where we plant maize and sunflower. Then with regard to Philip, that's what we did when he get here. We did resource evaluations, and then from there we advised him to plant pastures on the certain field, and others we applied lime. And then from there we moved to production planning. That's where we compile a production plan which entails what type of seed is he going to plant, at what depth, plant population, From there, we move to the fertilizer. We take them step by step. We move to fertilizer. After getting the soil analysis results, I interpret them and I tell them, okay, for this yield, we have to apply this amount of fertilizer.
And the following year, when we went on after doing all the exercises that he was showing me, teaching me, the following year we managed to get 3 tons per hectare, which I wasn't even aware of that. I just knew that I am planting, I'm harvesting. When the trailer is full of maize, to me it was achievement. Hence, it wasn't. It wasn't. So, yes, mentorship is very much important. I'm trying to involve my girl in all aspects of anything that I'm doing within my business to understand it. To be able to run it. It should not be me alone there. No, she must be able to carry out some of the tasks without my involvement.
Personally, I believe what makes my dad a good farmer is because he's doing it passionately. He's got love for farming. He literally invests his life and soul in farming. So that's the reason it was easy for him to rub it off to me. Besides administration, I also help out with the day-to-day runnings of the farm, like stock count, and by stock I mean the cattle that's on the farm. I also take a turn there on the field just to check what has been planted, what has been going on. I also assist the workers in terms of when they can't get hold of my dad, I'm the first person they can talk to, then I can try to assist. What I enjoy most about the farm is the peace in this place. Just to get away from town and the busyness of town, it's just relaxing. With everything being said, my dad has mentored me. He has made me love farming, and I believe that one day I'll also become a farmer.
So in all what I'm doing currently, I've got a daughter that I'm trying to plant a lot of things to her, to say that tomorrow, when I am tired, when I decided to sit back, she can take over the reign. I try by all means to bring her in, to say that my daughter, this is life. The farm itself, I bought it myself. It's not a government, it's not a government farm. I'm not leasing the farm, it's my own farm. So everything that I do on the farm, I do it with a purpose.
I've got the passion of working with the people, more especially when coming to food production, because we cannot live without food. And as you can see that we are lacking the scientists, the crop scientists, they are lacking. So that's what keeps me going. I like to work with this farmer because now at the same time they are helping us. And what I normally tell these young people is, if you want to be an agronomist, you need to meet a certain standard. You have to be obedient. That's the point number one. Point number two, you need to be on top of your subject. You need to know when you get to this farm, you must know better than the farmer. That's what I normally tell these upcoming students. I would like to say to other agronomists out there, farming is life. We need to keep on advising these farmers so that they can feed the nation. Farming is life.
Truly an inspiring story. Philip used his entrepreneurial skills and passion for farming to build a career for himself and wealth for his family. After the break, we look at another successful story. You are watching Nation in Conversation. Welcome back to Nation in Conversation. Our next visit was to a farmer, Penny Mbele. Penny Mbele, a maize farmer in the Vanderbijl Park area in Gauteng. Penny started out as a taxi driver, but through perseverance and a deep love of farming, he is now a successful farmer who increases his yields year by year.
is Penny Mbele. I'm farming here in Klepkop. My father worked as a boiler attendant in Stewards and Lloyds. My mother was a family mother at home. And then I had two sisters older than me, myself and my younger brother. We have been working for the companies, driving trucks. And then I went to taxi industry. I went to communal land and buy cows there and be a farmer of cows there. And it was going well. And also because the background of the school where we went, Abbott School, where I've done my matric there, practicing the business economics. I was helped by the Department of Animal Health to manage my cattle there and educate me until I reached a stage where I'm an animal technician. I can inseminate, I can give birth on animals, until they advised me to make an application to the Department of Land Reform, where I was granted by the department this piece of land, which is 33 arable land, minus 70, in fact, of grazeland. My family is a family of 3. Myself, my wife, and my daughter. My daughter with 3 grandchildren. I've become a farmer because of the information, announcements by the government that you want 30% of the people previously disadvantaged to become a farmer. That's where I started thinking about farming. In farming here, I started 2007 with 18 cattle. That was developed until 40-something. Farming with maize, it is definitely a good business here in Vanderbijl Park.
I think one must realize that farmers like Penny, we need to have huge respect for them, for the simple reason that it's an almost impossible task to get into the situation where you get a farm, you've got absolutely no financing, you've got no inputs, you've got no mechanization, no tractors, and now everybody expects you to make a success of that. So probably the only route that a new farmer, new developing farmer has of ever getting into farming is to access a farm through rural development. And the recapitalization program is probably one of the best programs that any government has initiated to help developing farmers in any country. If we look at a situation like Penny, he's got the desire, he's got the heart, he works very, very hard, and he's stuck with an old planter. That is the most crucial implement on the farm. So he's planning to plant 28, 30,000 plants per hectare. It's costing him 7,000, 8,000 rand a hectare. But because it's so old and he hasn't got the money to fix it up, or he hasn't got the money to buy a new one, at the end of the day, he ends up with a plant population of 15,000. So I have a lot of sympathy with them. And I think we also need to encourage commercial farmers, their neighbors, to get involved and to try and make the process easier for them to get better yields as quickly as possible.
The biggest challenges we are facing as farmers is because the rain is not controlled by anyone, only by God. And then as a business, you know there is a risk, business risk. And then this one, only by God, we must bend down. We use slogan here to say we bend down and beg for the rain.
In terms of mentoring, I think that's an important component that has to be looked at with the developing farmers. We've got 2 basic options. The one is for a mentor like myself who has agricultural experience, who has farming experience, to get involved with the farmer. But the role of the mentor is not to farm for the farmer. It's to guide him, to give him the theoretical skills, the theoretical knowledge, but also to relate that theoretical knowledge to the practical application of that knowledge. The second option for the mentoring is for the commercial farmers to become involved. Now, fortunately, there is a large population of our commercial farmers who want to get involved. The problem is they don't always know how to get involved. And I think that's where we need some action to be taken, maybe at formal government level, to work programs out that we get more participation.
Leadership is very important in business. You make relationship with your workers. Tomorrow you'll see your workers loving you and they will help you. They will protect you on everything. Success on this farm is I've already have bought myself equipment here. As I'm willing to go further, I'll keep on buying implements. My goal is to go to 1,000 hectares and more. My advice will say to the people out there, the farming is a good game with its potential and disadvantages as any business. The first one, disadvantages, is where are you going to get money? If you get the land from a land affairs, we won't have the money to work on that land. And the land affairs also will give you a budget time. So prepare yourself, work with financial institute so that they can give you money, then you can be a success.
As far as going forward with the farmers, I think we all need to support their efforts, and we need to support government's efforts. We need to support Department of Rural Development and Land Reform in the recapitalisation efforts. The will is there with the farmers, and I think in future, hopefully, we'll visit some of these farmers and show you what they are achieving, where they have received assistance, and what some of them are prepared to do without any assistance at all, and what they've achieved. I think if we all get involved, the commercial farmers plus the mentors, we should achieve success, but it's a long-term project that we're looking at.
What an encouraging story. Penny was able to utilize his land productively, and today, him and his land stand tall. After the break, we will look at career opportunities in the agriculture sector and why these are exciting opportunities. Stay with us. You're watching Nation in Conversation. Welcome back to Nation in Conversation. Today we are at the University of Pretoria. Joining me in the studio is Dr. Matlo Kalaba, international trade economist at the University of Pretoria, and one of the students, Diana. Welcome. Matlo, agriculture and mentorship. Why is mentorship so important?
Well, mentorship is very important for a number of reasons. If you start with the point that a mentor is someone who is experienced or an expert in a particular area. So in agriculture, you need someone who is that experienced, who is an expert, to hold a hand of someone who is studying, who still needs some help. It's almost like a kid learning how to walk. They get confidence when a parent takes them by the hand and help them through that process. So in agriculture, that mentorship is similar to that baby starting to walk up until the baby stands on his or her own. So in agriculture, we need that process as well.
Matlo, we talk a lot about primary agriculture, but there's a wide variety of career options for somebody that wants to focus on agriculture. Can you give us a few ideas of the scope of career options?
Oh, yes, and the scope is very wide in terms of agriculture. As you said, it's not only limited to primary agriculture. You can take a look at the government today. Within government, you have the agriculture department, which has many people employed there as agricultural specialists in various areas, from policymakers to researchers. Then you can go to private sector, take an example of the banks, commercial banks. They have agricultural economies, they have people working in insurance, making sure that the loans that the banks are lending to their clients are really taken care of. And there are other areas such as port facilities, transportation. So the scope for agriculture today is very wide.
Diana, you a young student, you are studying agriculture. Why?
Well, having gone to Pretoria Girls High, it's a different choice studying agriculture. My dad actually worked for NEPAD, which are the New Partners of African Development, and agriculture plays such a huge role in development. So when I went into the agricultural sector, I wanted to go in through the development sector. Agriculture provides a lot of opportunities in that you can go into environmental economics, which deals with things that are happening today like climate change, policy, as Matlu said, working in government, agribusiness, so you can be working in banks and the financial sector, as well as rural development.
What are you currently studying?
I'm currently doing my master's in food and agricultural policy.
If you see yourself in 5 or 10 years' time, where would you like to be?
I want to be involved in an agricultural company that provides development through policy, so designing the policy or working behind, doing the research to inform the policy.
If you were to give advice to a young Diana at school, why would agriculture be an option for them?
Okay, to the youngsters out there, I think the misconception they have about agriculture is they think it's just farming. To those youngsters, I'd like to tell you that agriculture is not just about farming. There are a lot of opportunities involved in agriculture. You can make so much money from it, and you can give back to the community so much in terms of development. So if you are looking at developing the country, I think agriculture is the way to go.
Matla, do you agree with that?
100%. It's diverse today. There are demands that are coming up from nutrition, if you take health into account, to business and commerce. So agriculture gives a wide scope and can contribute to development by a long shot.
If you look at the current students at the University of Pretoria and their approach to agriculture, do you think that there is enough youngsters coming into the system that will suffice the need for agricultural knowledge in South Africa?
We will always look for more people to get involved in agriculture. At the university, of course, we are limited by certain capacity, but we have other 8 universities offering agriculture careers in their departments. We will always look for more, but those that are already in here, we are doing our best to equip them with this kind of knowledge, information that you can see Diana can clearly articulate that agriculturalists of the future will be a different group altogether.
Well, we look forward to that future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was Nation in Conversation. You can follow us on Twitter at NationConverse or visit the website nationinconversation.co.za. From me, Theo Foster, good day.
Nation in Conversation, proudly brought to you by Afgreen, Fort Knox, Hinterland, Monsanto, Nedbank, NWK, and Sendes.
The world is changing today. The world is changing in every way. Let's stand together, put our hands together, join hands forever. We're making it better. No matter where you are, you could be near or far away. We're singing together, we're dancing together, we're changing.